Do another Reddit reading here. This time we may look at a few extra questions. I already did two in my first video, so I talked about them a lot, but let us see what we have here. Now this is in the Reddit group known as D&D Next, and this is their weekly question thread. Ask questions here. This is for February 6th through 13th. So, rules of the thread. We don't need to talk, but let's just go down and talk about some questions here. Would a simulacrum count for the vote of the real one? I mean, in the case the wizard is not trying to be deceptive and sends the simulacrum because he is busy to attend the gathering of the vote. Would it count? Can someone object that it has to be the real wizard? Now, that's just a ridiculous question, really. For those who don't know, Simulacrum is a high-level spell that basically makes a temporary clone of the character. Details of it are a bit more than that, but that's the basic gist. A temporary clone. They send them off, the thing is easily destroyed. Would it count? Why wouldn't it? Like the one reply to that. The politics of the world are up to the DM. It would depend on the politics of the world you're in, definitely. I mean, there are some places that it would count, some places that it wouldn't, but nothing serious there. Let's just scroll down and see if we can find some good questions. Okay, this is from a X-Rainy. Wizard creates simulacrum of a high-level full caster. In that case, a 17th level bard from the same party. So creating a simulacrum of a 17th level bard. Then this simulacrum uses true polymorph on itself, polymorphing into an adult gold dragon, and waiting a full hour to make this polymorphing permanent. Adult gold dragon then uses its change shape ability to gain the form of an archdruid or another NPC full caster for things like foresight and stuff, and reverts back to its dragon form after. So a couple questions about how rules interact in this scenario. I'm not even going to bother. I'm not even sure that the rules as written could really handle such a situation. This is something that a GM would have to rule on their own. So in 5th edition, there are many rules that are written in a way that require the GM to kind of homebrew various scenarios. And this is one of them. It doesn't really matter what the rules say. You need to use common sense on something like this. It is too complicated. It is too convoluted to really make sense of. And I'm not even going to bother. I'm not as familiar with 5th edition as I would like to be. I only started playing it a year ago, approximately. And since this is talking about 5th edition, I mean, with Simulacrum and True Polymorph in 3rd edition, no, this wouldn't work. Because of the way the spells work in 3rd edition. It just wouldn't work. But it might in 5th edition. I'm not as familiar with these rules. But man, that is just a convoluted mess. And I would, honestly, as a DM, I don't care what the rules say, I wouldn't allow it. Here's a small one. Let's see what this says. This may be a larger debate of rules as written versus rules as intended, but here it goes. Imagine there is a battle taking place on a mountain, or just anywhere that there may be lots of large obstacles in the way. What is the difference between my character runs over behind a very large rock, no enemies have a line of sight on them, versus my character runs over behind a very large rock, no enemies have a line of sight on them, and I take the hide action? First answer. If you take the hide action and roll higher than their passive perception, you're considered hidden and your next attack against them has advantage. They also don't know the exact square you're in and would have to guess your location. Response to this. Doesn't making an attack while hidden immediately reveal your position? That's the question. So again, response, after you attack, yes. So you make the first attack with advantage, then your position is revealed. This is for ranged attacks only, mostly since walking out from behind cover usually reveals you. You can't hide or be hidden if the enemy can see you. Okay, so that's basically, the question is, if I'm ducking behind a rock and they can't see me, do I need to make a hide check to not be seen? That's the basic gist of this question. And the response to this is very much rule-centered. This is the condition that you're in. This is what the condition does. you don't have the condition, you don't get this. It's a very rule-centric thing. It's if you don't have this condition, you can't do what this condition allows. I don't like that too much. My answer to this is it doesn't really matter. You go hide behind the rock. They can't see you. If they can't see any part of you, you've got total cover. Now, did they see you? Now, the question is, see, once you're behind the rock, the hide check doesn't mean anything. You're behind a rock. Who cares? They can't see you. They can't do anything. You are, as I said, you have total cover. The question here would be not take the hide action after you get behind the rock, but do you take it before you get behind the rock so that they don't see you go behind the rock? That's the real question. The hide wouldn't matter once you're back there. But if you can stealthily hide while you're slipping behind the rock, then you could say, not only can they not see you, but they now no longer know where you are. They don't know that you're behind that rock. And that's the real question. This idea of you take the hide action, and if they don't beat your perception, if their perception doesn't beat your stealth, then you're hidden, you get advantage. So I slip behind a rock. I'm sitting there, and I take the hide action. My next turn, I stand up and shoot a bow and get advantage on it because they didn't see me. They couldn't see me. That doesn't mean they don't know I'm behind the rock. If they saw me go behind the rock, they know I'm there. The hide isn't going to do anything unless I am hiding and moving out from behind the rock so that they can't see me as I move out and then changing my position. Now I've got a stealth in there, and now I can actually logically claim the advantage of taking the hide action. Or, as I said, if you did it before you slipped behind the rock, you could logically say that they didn't see me go behind the rock, and so when I step out, I can get advantage because they're not expecting me to be coming out from behind the rock. That's the question. That's the real issue here. A lot of people they want to say rules as written and rules as intended. I don't think either one applies. I think this should just be a logical thing. You're behind a rock, they can't see you. You have cover. If they saw you go behind the rock, they are expecting you to come back out from behind the rock. Or they circle around and find you behind the rock. It's just common sense. The hide action isn't going to help you once you are behind the rock unless you are using the hide action to move to another location. I like the question. The question is actually a very good question. But the answer to it is it's one of those answers that is, oh, these are the rules. Doesn't matter if it makes sense. And I don't like those answers. Now, I will say on occasion you have to just do the rules. But usually in those cases, it's because there really is no logical way to get around the rules. I mean, I'm not breaking any rules by saying no. They saw you go behind the rock. They know you're there. You jump out from behind the rock. They still know you're there. No, that's not breaking any rules. Anyways, let's see. Any other good stuff? Let's see if we can get a good idea here, and we'll call it good. Help. I need an idea for a magic item to give to a level 4 crossbow expert Gloomstalker Ranger. Not a weapon, please. Flavor is things that an engineer with some artificer abilities has in her storage closet. The full spellcasters in the party are getting items that give them 1 cantrip and 2 first-level spells, 1 cast per day each. 1 character is getting a shield that lets them add to their allies' AC with a reaction, and another is getting a ring of jumping with some extra athletics perks added on. I'm completely stumped on what to give the ranger, though. This is, I believe, the only suggestion here. Quiver of Elona. It's an uncommon item, is pretty simple, general item, very basic. The quiver of Elona basically is like a bag of holding, but it's a quiver of holding, and it can hold arrows, bolts, spears, just that kind of stuff. And then we have Cloak of Elvenkind is another suggestion, Cloak of the Bat, Robe of Eyes. So nothing flavored, just standard magic items being suggested. Here is my suggestion. I'm not sure, as I said, what the Gloomstalker is. You want a non-weapon for a ranger who is a crossbow expert. What about returning bolt? The crossbow is not magical. You give him a bolt. 1 bolt has no magical properties to it, but he shoots it, and then it comes back. Now he never runs out of arrows. He never runs out of ammunition. He has nothing else to it. It's just he will never run out of ammunition. He never has to find that ammunition. It always comes back to it. Let's see, what else can we do for him here? Or what you actually could do is instead of giving him a weapon, you give him a mechanism that attaches to it. He's a crossbow expert. You give him a little mechanism. His crossbows are loading weapons. It takes time to load the crossbow, get up. So you get this mechanism, magical mechanism that attaches to the handle of the crossbow, and what it does is it loads for you. You attach it on there, and instead of pulling the thing back, you just kind of click a switch on the device, and it will pull the thing back. And now you have a crossbow that can be shot like a bow. A bow doesn't have the loading property, and so when you get extra attacks, you can make extra attacks with a bow. You can't do that with a crossbow normally, but with this mechanism, you could. There's another idea for you. It's always good to get ideas that are out of the box, as they say. Flavored, unique, preferably. I mean, I've used a lot of items that are listed in the books, but preferably, if you can, something that's not in the book, something that the players don't know about because you're just creating it right there. Like I once created I gave a guy a rat's tooth. It was magical. So in order to use it, you had to pull one of your teeth out, stick the rat's tooth in its place, and then you could talk to rodents. And that's all it did. It lets you talk to rodents. Not all animals, just rodents. And you had to have a rat's tooth in your mouth. So you looked a little funny. Possibly caused a slight speech alteration. But it was a fun item. That's the kind of stuff that I think people need to think about more. I mean, I like some of the stuff that they're talking about here, but I think most of the stuff that they have, spellcasters, items that give them extra spells, can be nice, but not as creative as you could be. The shield is okay, but it's again something that is fairly common. Actually, I think that shield that exists in the books. Ring of jumping and with a little extra athletics and stuff. Those are pretty standard stuff. Let's get some unique stuff like one single returning bolt or a mechanism that allows you to fire a crossbow more rapidly. But these are the kind of questions, I think it's a good question. I think those are good ideas. I think it's sad that only one person has responded to this question. And, it's the items they list aren't bad items. Cloak of Elvenkind, Cloak of the Bat, Robe of Eyes. These are all good items. The Quiver of Elona, very good item. But I don't think it's what the original person asking had in mind. So those are just a few of the questions. And we'll leave that here. If you are enjoying these things, like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what your thoughts are on what I'm saying here. Let me know if you want me to continue with this, and we will see how it goes.